That's not what's happening here at PINSTEC, the Pakistan Institute of Technology, where scientists are determined to produce plutonium as the vital core of a nuclear weapon. We believe they'll be able to carry out their first test 18 months from now. When it happens, it'll be largely thanks to the organization of this man. Mr. S.A. Butt has been the ingenious quartermaster for the Pakistani bomb project. Based in Paris, he spent colossal sums of money on components for the bomb. Reportedly, Butt himself was in at the birth of the bomb at a meeting held by the late Ali Bhutto. Present were Professor Abdus Salam, later to win a Nobel Prize, Ishrat Usmani, head of the Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission, and Mr Khan, who was to succeed him. The date, 1972.
It was rather, you know, like a jamboree, you know. It was very, there's a great deal of enthusiasm and joy, and these were, you know, the early days, and, Bhutto could have, Bhutto had said that anything, you know, he could have got away with anything, you know, I mean, his authority was unquestioned. And loyalty to Bhutto was unquestioned, and he was looked upon as the great Messiah. So he got all these boys together, and there were senior people, very senior people, and junior people, youngsters, and he said, look, you know, we're going to have a bomb. We're going to have a party. And he said, can you give it to me? So, you know, they started shouting like school children, you know. They said, oh, yes, 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 yeah, you can have it, you can have it, you can have it. So, you know, Bhutto was very amused, and he said, well, much as I appreciate your enthusiasm, but these are serious matters. But in any case, this is a very serious political decision, which Pakistan must make. And perhaps all third world countries must make one day, because it is coming. So can you do it? And they said, we can do it, given the resources and the facilities. So Bhutto said, I shall find you the resources, and I shall find you the facilities.
Exactly 3 weeks later, Pakistani papers...
The authority was unquestioned, and loyalty to Bhutto was unquestioned, and he was looked upon as the great Messiah. So he got all these boys together, and there were senior people, very senior people, and junior people, youngsters, and he said, look, you know, we're going to have a bomb. We're going to have a party. And he said, can you give it to me? So, you know, they started shouting like school children, you know. They said, oh, yes, 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 yeah, you can have it, you can have it, you can have it. So, you know, Bhutto was very amused, and he said, well, much as I appreciate your enthusiasm, but these are serious matters. But in any case, this is a very serious political decision, which Pakistan must make. And perhaps all third world countries must make one day, because it is coming. So can you do it? And they said, we can do it, given the resources and the facilities. So Bhutto said, I shall find you the resources, and I shall find you the facilities.
Exactly 3 weeks later, Pakistani papers reported on Ali Bhutto's triumphant tour of the Middle East and North Africa, Sudan, Ethiopia, and Libya. He had to find the money he'd promised his scientists.
You know, I was on the trip, and we visited about 16 countries, you know, Somalia and Libya and Ethiopia. He didn't get it from Haile Selassie, I can assure you.
One of the most ecstatic welcomes of the tour was from Colonel Gaddafi in Libya. Outwardly, he was very different from Bhutto, but the two men respected each other as brothers in Islam.
Bhutto said, one of the last things he said, you know, before his execution, that I want to be remembered as a revolutionary and as a poet. I suppose Gaddafi is a sort of revolutionary too.
But But it wasn't only brotherly love that attracted Gaddafi to Bhutto. The colonel had publicly and unashamedly declared his yearning for a nuclear weapon. With the enormous wealth from his oil fields, he'd already tried to import nuclear expertise, people who would build him what he called the sword of Islam. He told a Lebanese newspaper,
"People now say that this country has 50 planes and that country has 500. The day will come when they will say, this country has 3 nuclear bombs and that country has 10. Libya will not be absent when that day comes."
Earlier, he'd made somewhat naive approaches to France and China to buy an off-the-shelf bomb and had been rejected. Later, he even tried to bribe India with massive supplies of cheap oil in exchange for a bomb, and again he was turned down. Suddenly, here was Pakistan, a potential bomb supplier, with its palm outstretched, waiting for Gaddafi to put money into it. Secret meetings began in Paris between Pakistani and Libyan representatives. Secret that only a handful of men knew about them. Among them, Ali Bhutto himself and Mr Khan, head of the Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission. The first meeting was in 1973. We've been given an account of those meetings by a Pakistani diplomat who was involved. Like other Pakistani informants in this film, he's been warned of a long prison sentence if he talks. His account of what happened is read.
There were various meetings in 1973 involving Libyan and Pakistani representatives. Most Pakistani diplomats in Paris were not told. Less than 10 people knew of the meetings. The Libyans wanted the entire capability. Sums in excess of $500 million were discussed. There were also discussions with other countries, including Saudi Arabia and Gulf states. Their interests were different from Gaddafi's. They principally wanted Pakistan to possess the expertise. They weren't making the same demands as Gaddafi. During the negotiations, the Pakistani side believed that a total investment, if you like to call it that, of several $1 billion was possible. But nothing like that amount ever arrived.
But massive sums of money did arrive in Pakistan. Another senior Pakistani, now in fear of a 10-year prison term, has told us exclusively that staggering consignments of money, sometimes as much as $100 million in cash, were specially flown from Libya to Pakistan. The flights began in 1975.
A plane left Tripoli for Pakistan in December and another in the summer of '76, carrying money from Colonel Gaddafi, from Mr Bhutto, for use in the manufacture of an atom bomb. And money was always carried in suitcases by trusted couriers in high denomination notes. Mr Bhutto told me that Colonel Gaddafi had several discussions with him on the subject at Lahore during the Islamic Summit and had promised all the financial help necessary to manufacture such a bomb, but also indicated that he would like to have the first one.
But what happened on this particular occasion? How was the money got to the plane?